This is going to be a breakdown of a Barient 21 winch. This was off my Islander 36, and it's an older boat, 1975. This winch was a secondary winch on my boat. It was used apparently for the foreguy, and I'm guessing the spinnaker, one of the spinnaker sheets. But it's been on there for a while. We're going to break it down and clean it and put it back together. In order to do that, I searched the internet and found some instructions on Barient winches. I'll put a link to the site I got this from, but I don't know if you can read that. There it is. Basically, I've already taken it off the boat, obviously. In order to do that, there's a small clip on the top here that needs to come off, and in order to do that, we're just going to get a screwdriver. Get it underneath that clip. There's a little groove there. You probably can't see it. There it is. That just circles off. And there's that clip. Set that aside. Now be careful here. This top ring is loose. I didn't know that when I originally took it off, and almost lost it overboard. Luckily I didn't. But this will slide up off the winch, and underneath here are two pawls and with springs obviously on them, and lots of grease you need to clean up. This one's not too bad compared to my other winch. It was really greasy. This one's okay, but anyways, there's that. I've already disassembled this one somewhat, obviously get it off the boat, one, and also because one of these this pin that holds these gears captive here is bare to get out. But anyways, pull off our bearing here. Set that down. This is a pin that held these gears captive that slides down in there. In order to get it out, the directions say, that I showed you before, say to get a screwdriver underneath this pin and pry it up with a screwdriver. Well, good luck with that. That's never going to work, at least not on this one. So what I did is took a punch down below here. You can see it right there. Took a punch, punched that pin through, and took a little bit of effort, but it came out, and then these gears will slide out right after that. Two gears. There's a small washer here that holds the other spring and pawls together, or keeps them from flying out. This should slide right off. It's the first time I'm doing this, so if anything goes flying, we'll know I'm not doing it right. But there's that. These springs, these pawls will pop out. Should pop out. Keep those springs from flying away. So there's a pawl and there's a little spring in there. You can see that spring and pawl. Set that down. This one too. Pawl and a spring. And I think that's the extent of the breakdown there. Set that down. In order to get this gear out and the main shaft, this main shaft out, there's another clip like the one we just took off, and you're probably not going to see it's that little shiny ring down in there. We need to get that off. Now the directions say to put a screwdriver in there through the window and see if we can't get it off. I don't know if I can do that, and if I can't, we're just going to leave that attached. Basically I ended up taking everything down, breaking it down, cleaning everything up, and I've lightly greased all the parts that need it. The first thing we're going to do is put this shaft back in. Apparently this is item number 7 on there on the schematic. I'm going to do this upside down, so the weight of the base here will give me something to hold that in there. I need to put a circlip on it, or I'm not sure what type of clip it is, but the clip that came off it is a you know, one of these round clips that are kind of spring loaded, I guess. And we need to try to get that back on there. Now that piece did not need to come out. Let me show you real quick. You don't have to take this out. It even says in the paperwork. The only wear spots on this item are right here and right here. So if you have it installed and you don't want to take it apart, you can try to slide that up a little bit and just get some oil in there. And just get some oil in there, and then you know, drip some oil down through the bottom there. You know, flip it upside down, and that should be basically what I did. Is I got one edge on, and then with the two small drivers here, I just kind of walked it around. Started one end, held it, kind of walked it around, and got that sat in there, and it popped right in. So that wasn't too bad. The next item is going to be this gear, which the pawls are ratchet in. Again, there's two ways to install this, right way and a wrong way. It's pretty apparent. There's also a little schematic on the schematic that shows which way they go in. This is the direction it goes. You can see how they'll catch and sit nice and flat in there. On here, it'll show you this schematic here, you know, the right and the wrong way. If you can tell which way is wrong, you'll obviously notice that there'll be a gap there that sits nice and square. So that sits nice and square in there. And it catches nicely. Yep. Something screwing around. Okay, so our cover plate on the bottom there holds the pawls together. You can put it on first, keep them together. Slide that in. Then our pin here is going to go back in there. So there's that flushes out. Our gears are working. And here our pawls sitting. Nice. Much cleaner than it was, if you remember. Okay. So that's that. What's left, I guess, is our large bearing. You can slide that over. Both of these have been greased up. On the drum, this is where the pawls are a little different, if you remember. I mentioned. If you see, I guess these are kind of pointed in the, I guess, pointed counterclockwise, right? And I installed it. That's the way they're supposed to go, as opposed to flipped over and pointed this way, clockwise. So they're pointed counterclockwise. Clean that a little better. Oh, the springs. That is an old spring. That is a new spring. Not sure if I can show you. This one's a little sloppy. You can here, that one's a little looser. So that's an old one. I'll go ahead and replace it. I just want to show you guys that. You can definitely feel the difference between the two if you can. Okay, so once you're on the boat, you get this mounted. You get this mounted to your boat. This will slide on top. Real simple, obviously, just the way it came out. Hold those pawls. And there you can see them working. And that sounds really nice. Anyways, that's it. The Barient 21 breakdown reassembly. Happy sales, guys, girls.